Let's take a moment on this video and define what an Endler is in layman's terms. Endlers are guppies, and they're guppies, as you know, that got stuck in a lagoon, and they evolved and they thrived. Um, Most of what you read on the internet and in books is Endlers are smaller than guppies. And although it is true, Endlers are smaller than domesticated guppies that we have special bred for the last 75, 80 years, but they're really not a big difference between wild guppies and wild Endlers, and that's females and males. The biggest difference is when you get into the domesticated ones. Endlers developed their iridescent colors to be able to breed in a lagoon. That was the first major change in them. They never developed long tails. In fact, they have a lot of swords, top swords, bottom swords, double swords. But guppies have that too in the wild. So that's not really something that is that different as well. They did develop to the females now with Endlers have more of a say in what goes on in the breeding process. They select their males for the most part, and that makes a big difference. It just makes a big difference. The other thing that really shows is the polymorphic nature of Endlers, that they're always changing. What we would see in the wild is when a new color would come into an area, all the females would want to breed with that color. So what you would get is you get males that are all red in one area, all lime in another area, and you come back 5 years later and it's completely opposite. It's completely different, which is very interesting, and I'm sure it confused the researchers at the very beginning. The Endlers came from a lagoon that was subject to floods, and the floodplain in that area, the Cumana area, is pretty extensive. And so even though, according to Venezuela, the Endlers are gone in the major lagoon, I know that there's probably Endlers on private property in small lakes and small lagoons around the area that were part of the floodplain, and I'm sure that there's more there. It's just that in the United States we're not allowed there. We're not really welcome in Venezuela, so we don't really go there, and we don't really know exactly everything that is going on there. The Endlers, when they came to the United States, it was in the 1975 area. And the first set came in with John Endler, and he brought them into the New York area, and they were distributed a little bit. That is another video in itself that we will be doing probably in a week or so. And it's very, very interesting. But a man named Armando Pugh was the researcher and the man in the area that did most of the collection. And from the late 1970s through 1995 or so, he was in the area, and he was shipping stuff back, and he was shipping them to a dealer in Florida, who was the only contact and the only person that was receiving Endlers at that time. And some of the problems that we have with Endlers right now is from how that was handled at that time. The Endlers that came in, being polymorphic, they're always changing, and I think that was part of the hardest thing when they got into the country. Of course, we wanted to stabilize them. We wanted to have black bars, we wanted to have limes, we wanted to have all the different varieties. But in fish that are polymorphic, that's hard. That's actually, you have to breed for that. You have to breed to get all black bars. And that's not because you have to breed something in, it's just that their nature, they always want to change. So we talked about a little bit of the differences in size, which, like I said, isn't very much. The other thing is, over time in the lagoon, the Endlers separated, but there was another fish in the lagoon that's very closely related and will actually inbreed now with Endlers, and that's the El Salto orange guppy. And it, like Endlers, was stuck in the lagoon. And they have an orange stripe that goes across them. Very, very beautiful. But in the wild, it doesn't look like they were hybridating. were being hybrid. It doesn't look like they were actually doing that. So that is actually interesting. And at Endler we actually have the orange line. It's really, really a good item to have in your collection. The other differences, as we were talking the other day, was in the breeding and on the physical end of things. Guppies have, on the end of their sexual organ on the males, they have hooks. And the hooks are there so that the male can establish entry and stay hooked on as the female starts running away. Um, Endlers, as they developed, didn't need the hooks anymore because the female was allowing them to breed. So what you see in Endlers is you may only see one hook, you may see two hooks, very rarely three hooks. But they were in the process, that was in the process of evolving out of the mix. And I don't know that we'll keep seeing that because, of course, the evolution of the Endlers, I don't want to say it stopped, but the natural part of the evolution is over because there's not enough wild ones in Venezuela to really make any difference. In regards to the females, again, you read that the guppy females are so much bigger, but my experience is this: that the guppy females and the Endler females are roughly the same size. Um, all females will grow, and they never really stop growing. The females will grow; they become a super female, which is good and bad depending on how you look at it. The females, a lot of times with Endlers, you'll see on the top fin and even on the side fins that they'll have black, and that's a great feature. You don't see it that much in guppies, but it's a great feature that Endlers have, and I know that at Endler Arc, that's what we're breeding for, is to get our females all with the black highlights. The other interesting thing with the black highlights is that the females with the black highlights, generally the males that they bring out, have a deeper black in them, which is a very, very good trait. And it's a trait that is strong enough that even when the fish are scared, they don't lose that. So this is just a little preview of the differences, the subtle differences between Endler and a guppy are. We will be doing a video just on the phenotype, and we will go in much greater detail on that. Until next time, thank you so much. Bye-bye.